Imagine this for a second. I want you to imagine that you're suddenly making twice as much money as whatever you currently make. Whatever that number is, I want you to double it. Really think about how much money that would be. What's that number? I want you to imagine for a second, if you were making that much money right now, what kind of house would you live in? What kind of car would you be driving? What's that thing you've been waiting to buy that you could probably now afford? I want you to imagine yourself buying all of these things, and then I want you to imagine the peace and freedom you would feel if you didn't have to worry about bills anymore. And now I'm going to need you to choose between one of those two scenarios, because it's extremely easy to get that raise, get the nice house and the nice car, and still wind up completely broke. But it doesn't have to be that way, so let's talk about how to fix that. Again, welcome back to the Moneybeard channel. My name is Rob Anderson, the founder of Moneybeard. I started this channel to help you learn how you can make a six-figure income doing what you love and then grow that money. Growing your money is what today's video is all about. I'm going to take you through a little scenario in this video, and for this scenario, we're going to assume you're a single, childless person. I'm also going to bump your income up to $200,000 for this scenario. Okay, so you're making $200,000 a year. That's legitimately a lot of money. That's about $16,700 a month before taxes, which we'll assume are around 30%. It's being kind of conservative. I'm assuming some write-offs makes it easier for the scenario. 30% taxes takes you down to about $11,700 a month. Let's also assume in this scenario that your phone, groceries, gasoline, and internet is about $1,000 a month, which brings you down to $10,700. So you can finally afford to get that big, nice house you've been dreaming of. You know the one I'm talking about. When you go on Zillow and you start looking around and daydreaming. We've all done it. Don't try to act like you've never done this. I've done it. We've all done this at some point. Now look, you're not gonna go crazy. You're not gonna get like the $8 million mansion or anything. Just something that'll run you about $4,000 a month. We'll just assume you have the down payment already, all right? You can totally afford this though, because after that, you've still got $6,700 a month left over. But now you've got to upgrade your car too, because maybe you really want that new M5, or maybe you're like an SUV person and you want the X5. Maybe you want the Panamera, whatever. Look, I'm a car guy. I don't know, whatever they're flexing on Instagram, you want that. The point is, it's like a $100,000 car, all right? But that's not a problem because you're gonna lease it. It's gonna be like $1,500 a month. No big deal. You're making 200 grand. So now you've got $5,200 a month left over. Hey, you're still rolling in the money, and you realize, oh, man, like I've always wanted a Lamborghini, you know? Not a new one, nothing crazy, just a used Lamborghini, which you can totally finance over 72 months at 6.5% interest for $2,700 a month. Totally reasonable. You're not leasing that one either. You're buying it outright. So we're just, again, going to say you have the down payment already. It's fine. Look, you've still got $2,500 in play money after that every month. You're doing good. You're driving the Lamborghini, living in the big house. You're fine. In fact, you're doing so fine, you can afford to buy some nice new furniture to match that nice stuff your neighbors have to put in that big new house. You can even afford to go on a couple of nice dates each month on that Lamborghini. Did I mention your car insurance and utilities are going to go up a lot, by the way? By the way, you're making 200 grand a year. Shouldn't you be wearing a Rolex like those Instagram ballers? We haven't even talked about vacations yet. And you're broke. Okay, so that scenario we just laid out is what's known as incremental lifestyle inflation, where as you start making a little more money, or in our case, a pretty big jump in income, probably, you start treating yourself to a few more of those nice things that you feel like you deserve. Because that's what our culture says, you know, hey, you deserve it. Treat yourself. You deserve that. And even if your income takes a bump from, say, $50,000 to $70,000, it's easy to start thinking, oh, my income got upgraded. My car should get upgraded too. Let's get out to the dealership. It's just so easy in our culture to start making a little more money and say, hey, I've got a little more breathing room in my finances now, you know. I better fill that up with bills. And it's easy for this to happen little by little over time, whether you're upgrading your car or your house, or even if you're making small purchases. It's so easy when you're making more money to justify like, oh, it's only 20 bucks, you know, it's just 50 bucks. It's 100 bucks, you know, but I'm making this much more now. It's just getting nickel and dime to death by different amounts than actual nickels and dimes. All of those small purchases do add up, and when you're not setting a budget for yourself and you're just letting the fact that I'm making this amount of money dictate how much you're spending, it's easy to lose track of that and feel just as broke making 200 grand as you were when you were making 40 grand. The number one way you can avoid this happening is to view any increase in income as a tool that you can use to purchase assets that will grow over time and lead to a more secure financial future, rather than viewing that increase in income as a way to buy more stuff. Because buying more stuff is what often leads to problems with debt that many people find themselves in. So I suggest preparing for success for the future by setting a budget now, first of all, to avoid this happening. I'd also suggest setting a goal for where you want to be financially in 10 years or in 20 years, or when you're old and retired one day. Because you probably are going to reach those ages, you know? You're going to be 50 one day, and 60, and 70 probably. So will I, so will most of us. You have to think, when you're older, what do you want your situation to be then? Do you want $8,000, $10,000 in residual income coming in every single month? You want $1 million cash in the bank? Or do you want to be 60 years old, still trying to hustle and still trying to work the way you were when you were 25? Because when you were 25, you had to go out and lease a Benz you could barely afford so you could flex. Bottom line, you need to figure out what you want your future to be like and set a roadmap now to figure out how you're going to get there. Figure out how you can set aside enough money to hopefully max out a retirement account. From there, see what you can do to save towards purchasing assets that will actually yield a return on your money, such as dividend stocks or index funds. See if you can save towards purchasing rental property. You know, what would your life look like if you were able to purchase just one small rental property every 2 years for the next 30 years? And yeah, that may mean you need to save $2,000 each month. And maybe you can't do that just now, and that's okay. But if you are making 200 grand, even if you're making 100 grand, there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to save $2,000 each month. And that doesn't mean you have to live like you're broke, you know, just be a little more frugal. Like, what if instead of getting the Range Rover and the Lamborghini, you just picked between one of those two? You know, all I'm saying is, in that scenario, could you possibly see a way that you could live without the Lamborghini? That's all I'm asking. That's all I want to know. Let's say you're just making an average income though, and it seems like it would be a tight squeeze for you to free up even $100 a month. I know it doesn't seem like it would add up to much, but if you're able to free up even $100 a month just by prepping some of your own meals and canceling a couple of subscriptions, I want to show you what this could grow into. So I have open here a Roth IRA calculator. And I'm not saying that a Roth IRA is the right choice for you or even necessarily that it's the best option out there, but it's a fairly standard option for saving for the future. So I want to just plug a few numbers in here to give you an idea of what could happen. For this, I've started this at age 35. Let's say you wait until you're a little later on than in your 20s to start saving at a current income of $45,000 per year, not $450,000. There we go. A very average income. That's basically just going to show you how much you need for retirement. We'll get back to that later. And let's say you have no money in the bank whatsoever, but annually you contribute $1,200 per year, $100 per month, and you plan to retire at age 65. Rate of return, 6.5%. Here we can see that even this would add up to $108,000 at retirement. But let's go down here again and let's actually change this to starting at age 25. All other things being the same, if you started 10 years sooner, that account would grow by the time you retire to $223,000, almost $250,000 in the bank, just by prepping some meals and choosing between Netflix and Hulu. And let me also be clear that I'm not saying that this is all the money you'll ever need for retirement, but it would be a lot better to retire with $250,000 in the bank than with $0 in the bank and a mountain of debt. Here, let's really go nuts here for a second. Let's say you started doing this when you were 25, but you were making an above average income. Let's say your income was $75,000. I think that's about the income range that people start saying, hey, let me upgrade that car. Let's say instead of leasing the car that would cost you even $750 a month, you decided to lease a car that maybe, or you know what, buy one outright that would cost you $250 a month in payments. I'm not saying you have to go out and get a $5,000 beater, but what if you got one that just didn't cost the full $750? You would have $500 a month left over in that case. And let's also say that the amount due at signing on a big lease, never lease a car by the way, was $3,500. We're just going to keep it a nice simple $3,500. You would take that $500 you had left over every month and make the maximum annual contribution allowed to your account in your IRA of $6,000 annually. If you did this, you would have $1.16 million in the bank at retirement. If you maintained this practice your entire life, you would literally make yourself a millionaire at retirement just by making the small lifestyle change of not leasing the Benz. Look, the truth is, you really don't need to make a ton of money in order to save a lot of money, and a perfect example of that is Andre Jick. Andre was able to save almost a $200,000 investment portfolio just by investing what he had left over from his job when he was not even making close to a six-figure income. Until really recently. He's doing a lot better now. Congrats, Andre. But he did that through frugal living, sensible budgeting, and saving his money. Now, we're going to do a deep dive on this in a couple of future videos so you can learn how to treat your money properly so you really can watch it grow. Yeah, see that? I used the channel slogan right there. I did that. For now, though, I hope I've given you something to think about so that you don't fall victim to lifestyle inflation, which plagues so many people. As a reminder, smash the like button, just annihilate the like button, ring the bell, do all the things you're supposed to do, everything I'm supposed to say right here at this point in the video. I'm doing this twice a week, so I'll see you back here real soon. Thanks for watching.